Welcome to Gentle Restorative. My name is Sandra. Go ahead and just, wherever you're at, close your eyes. Give me a deep inhale. Super loud exhale. And I want you to think about why you are on your mat right now. What led you to saying, I really need yoga today. I need to roll out my mat. I need to get my butt on that mat. And I need to just participate in being present with myself. And what I'd really like you to notice, because, okay, let's be honest, right? Some days we push ourselves to get there, right? We push ourselves to, okay, I should get on the mat. Was that you today? Was there something like kind of, holding you back and you thought, no, I got to do this for me because I always feel better after yoga. Who doesn't, right? Think about that, because we are going to work on a theme of everything happens for a reason. And there are no mistakes, right? Only learning lessons. And so, if you were a little hesitant about doing your practice today, let's figure out by Savasana why you were here. Is it a quote I'm going to read you that you needed? Is it a particular pose that worked out a kink? Is it just in general, you just by the end of Savasana feel so much more light and peaceful? And if you're thinking, well, no, I wanted to be on my mat and I've got none of that going on, let's still remember that everything happens for a reason, and let's just be in that kind of a space with each pose we do, right? Paying attention to what the body doesn't want to do as well as what it does. All right, give me another deep breath in. Let it go. Inhale, take the arms up. Turn the palms outward. Exhale the arms down. I tricked you probably. Bring them all the way back down. Inhale, sweep the arms up. We're feeling the space around us. Exhale them down. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale down. What I want you to envision, keep going with the arms for a moment. If there's any negativity in your space, hesitancy, anger, sadness, fear, get rid of it. The arms are sweeping that energy away, and what is whisking in to embrace you is just peace. Deepen the breath. This is the last one. Inhale the arms up when you're ready. Bring the palms together and exhale them to your heart. We're going to pause here so that you can set an amazing intention for your practice and for the rest of your day. And then release the arms. Let's keep the eyes closed for a moment so you can focus on the breath. So if you are on my newsletter email list, you would have seen that, and you read it, you would have seen that I posted a Zen proverb that says something like, no snowflake ever falls in the wrong place, right? Everything happens for a reason. No snowflake ever falls in the wrong place. If you're not on my email list, just go to my website and sign up. So I read that, and what I really liked was the image it put in my head. I could just see this one lone snowflake. I could see it clearly, the crystals and its design, and how it just gently sauntered through the air, finding its way to the earth or to whatever's nearby. Maybe it lands on a flower, maybe a dead flower, maybe it lands on a branch. Wherever it lands is exactly where it was supposed to. And so you landing on your mat right now is because this is exactly where you were supposed to be right now and where you needed to be. So let's take that right arm, reach it straight out in front of you, and then just lift the palm so it's facing outward. Left hand's going to reach and grab onto the top of the fingertips and just gently bend that wrist back a little bit. You should feel that in the tendons running down the forearm of the right arm. And then go ahead, release, drop that wrist and use the left hand to stretch the hand downward. So this idea of nothing happens for a reason, you know, is so in line with there are no coincidences. And lately, I've just been bombarded by really weird coincidences. And you know what? If you're paying attention, you probably have been too. I'll tell you one that's super random and has nothing to do with our theme. Go ahead, switch to the other hand. Is that I was trying to think of this movie from the 50s, and I might have referenced this before. It took me days to come up with the name Operation Petticoat. And I mentioned it to my mom because I was hoping that she would be able to pull that from the resources of her memory, but you know, our memory seems to be hereditary. So no, she didn't remember. A few days later, she was going through old papers and go ahead, release the arms, stretch the right arm across. And she found an old article from when she was in college, and there was a picture of her on the front, excuse me, on the front. The ad on the back of the newspaper was a full-page ad for that movie. So just weird things, right? But, and it doesn't mean they all have a meaning to them, but pay attention because they're kind of fun. Switch the other arm. As well as, another coincidence, she happened to find something in that box. It was my dad's Marine release papers. And he had just been telling me 2 days prior that if he knew where those were, he could get a discount on insurance. And they appeared. Release the arms. Take those shoulders up, back and down. So a snowflake will always land where it's supposed to land, and perhaps so will you. What if you don't like where you've landed? Isn't that the life lesson we're seeking to discover? All right, inhale the arms up one more time. Exhale to the heart. Let's float that right hand to the earth beside you. Sweep that left arm up and over, finding a side bend. Okay, right hand's pushing the ground away, so you might come up a little higher, but that's so you can feel the left hip and sit bone make better contact with the earth. Once we've done that, open up that top shoulder so there's a rotation of the heart. Let's take the gaze up. Now, circles with that left wrist. Why? Because we're here. Why not? And why are we here? That's for you to figure out. All right, all the way back up. Release that left hand down to the earth. Same thing, right arm up. Side bend to the left. Find the side bend first. Left hand pushes the ground away so you make contact with the left or right hip, sorry. And then pull the top shoulder back. Heart opens, gaze upward. Deepen the breath. Circles with the right wrist. When you're ready, back to center. Release the arm. Pause here, fingertips on the earth. Close your eyes. Feel the shoulders grow heavy. Subtly deepen the breath. Like I don't want it to be super controlled, but give it an element of deepness that it doesn't have on its own naturally. Take your focus to your fingertips. Imagine that you are connecting with Earth's energy. And, you know, today, are you in a I need to be receiving kind of mood, or are you in a no, I have plenty, I'm in a good place, I'm giving? Just decide which way the energy is flowing. All right, stay right here. Keep the eyes closed. Drop the chin down towards the collarbone. Pull the shoulders down and back a little more. And then slowly bring the head back up. And we're going to take a hold of that right leg and cradle it in your arms, however that works best for you. You can move that left leg wherever it needs to be to help you maintain balance. And then as you cradle in, we're sitting up tall, so that might mean you need to let go of the leg a little bit. You can add movement if you want to. I'm going to stay still. My hips have not been super happy with movement lately, so I'm just going to breathe right here and tell you about, well, once upon a time, there was a king, and he had a very worthy and wise advisor. And the king would go to this advisor for everything and anything. And the advisor always had the same response. And he would say, everything happens for a reason, and that's great. So I want you to think for a moment of something that has happened to you recently, maybe not on the positive side, the other side. And if you were to pause for a moment and go, that happened for a reason and that's great, what's the greatness in it? Yeah, see, that's how we start figuring out the meaning and the symbolism. Okay, let's switch legs while you're thinking about that. So one of the responses you could have had in your head was, yeah, there was nothing great. So that's kind of the same reaction the king had. He kept thinking, what is so great about things going wrong or accidents occurring? Why does this advisor keep telling me this? So one day the king decides he's going to go hunting, and he takes this wise man with him because, of course, why wouldn't he? And during the hunt, there's a terrible accident, a terrible, terrible accident. And the king loses a finger. And the advisor says, that's right, I can hear you. Everything happens for a reason. That's great. The king is a little ticked off. We're going to go ahead and release that leg. We're going to keep the knees bent, feet a little wider than the hips on the earth. We're going to find our seated cat-cow right here. So the king thinks the advisor has now lost it. There is nothing great about his finger being cut off. And he decides that he's going to punish the advisor for that remark. So he throws him into his jail. The response of the advisor is, everything happens for a reason. That's great. I'm going to keep you hanging on that story for a moment. Okay, next time you are sitting up, the spine is straight, tip back just a little bit, hands underneath the thighs. We're going to find our balance in half boat or the Savasana. You can either keep the feet flexed or point, totally up to you. Remember, what we're trying to avoid is rounding out the spine here. So what if you can't get here without rounding out the spine? Well, why don't you bring your hands down to the ground? Everything happens for a reason, right? So if you're hanging on to the legs, we can try letting go. You got this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, set the feet down. Let's add on for a second, shall we? Grab your strap. If you don't have a strap, you can still do this. You might not like me as much, but everything happens for a reason, and that's great. So go ahead and put that strap underneath the balls of both feet. I'm going to sit up again, tip back, find my half boat. So if I don't have a strap, what I'm going to do is grab onto the big toes. And we're just going to see here if we can slowly maybe straighten out the legs. And why it's easier with the strap is because if you can't get the legs straight, the strap will help hold your balance for you. So if you're hanging on to the toes, just go really slowly, breathe, and come on back down. Yes, I hear you in my head. I know it's a restorative class. I haven't forgotten. All right, I'll make it up to you. Come on down onto your back. Hug the knees into the heart and rock it out. Let's send both legs up to the ceiling, shall we? Flexing the feet, relaxing the arms, and closing your eyes. So of course, you can use your strap if you want to make this easier. We're not going to be here super long, which is why I really didn't tell you to grab it, but if you need to or want to, certainly an option. So meanwhile, we've thrown this advisor, not we, but you know, in jail, and he's well respected within the community. And so all these people are coming to see him while he's in jail, and they keep asking him how he's doing, and he keeps saying, everything happens for a reason. This is great. And they're all super confused, and they can't figure out why he would keep saying that. All right, go ahead, bend the knees, set the feet back down on the earth, widen them out to the width of the mat, and then simply let the legs, the knees, fall to the left. Now, go slowly. Where they end up, decide if you are okay, especially with that top leg hanging in space. If you're not okay, I'm gonna grab a block here, then you could use some props to place under the bottom knee if you need to, or if you need a block for that top knee to rest on, which actually feels pretty good like that. So see what you need, and then just close your eyes. We're gonna hang right here. So some time goes by, and the king decides he's going to go out on another hunting expedition. And he goes deep into the forest. And of course, he has many men with him, not the advisor who's sitting in jail. And they come across a tribe that is cannibalistic. I couldn't think of the word I was searching for. Cannibalistic tribe. Now, imagine how happy the tribe is in looking for a human sacrifice that they have come across the king. And so they take them all back to their village, I guess you'd call it, perhaps. And that is when the shaman of the tribe notices that the king is missing a finger. And he tells the tribe, this is very bad. Should we sacrifice a body that isn't perfect, we will incur God's curse. And so the king is set free. So you can imagine his great relief and his shock to finally understand that in losing the finger, it saved his life. And he realizes that the advisor was correct, that there was a reason for that, and it did turn out to be a great reason. I'm going to have you go ahead and bring your knees back up to center, and then take them to the other side. Take any props with you if you used it on the first side. So now the king has realized that the advisor was right the whole time, and he rushes back to set the man free. And he says to the advisor, it was great after all. It was. You know, losing my finger, it saved my life. But I don't understand how you've been in prison, you've been eating like dry bread scraps this whole time, and yet you keep saying everything happens for a reason and it's great. So what do you suppose was the reply? So the advisor says, Your Majesty, if I hadn't been locked up in prison, I would have been hunting with you. And because you had lost your finger and they would set you free, but I would have been sacrificed with the rest of the men that you took with you that day. And so prison saved my life. And so, like I keep telling you, everything happens for a reason, and it is great. All right, let's bring those knees back to center. Realign your hips on the earth. Wiggle the feet in just a little closer, more hip distance apart. And then slide the shoulder blades down. Let's come up into one fabulous bridge. You might want to tuck the shoulders under a little bit when you get there. Holding. So if this bothers your knees, just lift the heels up. You could take the feet out a little bit farther from you to help the knees, but you're going to work a little harder to lift the hips. Give me a few deep breaths here. And then slowly, on an exhale, release down. And then just for a moment, create that arch in the low back and pull it down. We're just kind of just tipping the pelvic bone a little bit, moving the hips. One more time. Okay. Grab a block. Grab your strap. Again, if you don't have either, you're still totally going to be able to do this. It'd probably actually be safer for you. I'm cracking myself up because I'm talking to myself really in an empty room. Okay, so I want you to pull the knees in. We're going to balance that block on the feet. Now, before you do this, I'm thinking that if you want to use the strap, you're going to have to get the strap around the block first. So if you want the strap, set that block on your stomach, grab your strap, put it over the block. Now lift up, get your feet underneath, and you can hold it here. But if you'd like a little extra challenge, let's not use the strap. That's why I said if you don't have a block, it's probably safer for you. You don't have a risk of it falling on top of you. So close your eyes, hands resting on the abdomen, make contact with the breath. So if you are having trouble keeping the block balanced, and maybe it's fallen once or twice by now, that's super great. Everything happens for a reason. If you feel like you want to move a little bit, you can bring the legs in a little closer, take them back, work on keeping that block balanced. If there was a glass of water on top of that block, it would still be up on top of that block. So if you're moving the legs back and forth and they're starting to get a little tired, keep going. Can you imagine how great they're going to feel when we just bring them down to the ground and we just close our eyes and veg out? All right, how about 3 more? If you're moving the legs, otherwise just stay where you are for 3 more breaths. And then start to bend the knees so you can grab that block. And then slowly set the feet down on the earth and then stretch out the legs. I promised you a good vegging out. So, oh my gosh, close your eyes and let go. And so if you felt that sudden sense of release and relief, then you know why we just did that pose prior. It was so you could feel this, right? We had to tire out the legs first. So again, this everything happens for a reason. Doesn't mean we like it. Empty out the lungs. Slow, deep inhale, fill them up. Hold the breath. Big exhale. Pull the stomach all the way and empty the lungs. Slow, deep inhale. Hold the breath. Cleansing exhale. One more time. Inhale. Hold the breath. This time you hold as long as you want to or as little as you want to, and you let go when it seems right for you. Would this feel great if this was already Shavasana? But it's not. Why is it not? Because we still have more lessons to learn. We have to figure them out on the mat first. So if we really, really, really wanted it to be Shavasana right now, perhaps our lesson is impatience, right? Or maybe it's just because we haven't hit all the body stretches yet. We haven't completed everything and it needs to be done first. So having said that, stretch the arms overhead. Leave the legs. Let them just lie heavy right where they landed. And then as you bring the arms back down, now let's move the legs. Let's go ahead and roll to a side in a fetal position. And then gently push your way up and over into table. My rug and this mat do not get along very well, but they have lessons to learn too. Inhale, take it to cow. Exhale to cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Release the spine, find your downward facing dog. Perfect. And then float the knees back down, lock the hands in so you can sit up onto your knees. We're going to inhale the arms forward and up. Right hand's grabbing the left wrist and pulling you to the right. So you can let the left hip kick out to the left if you want to. We're coming back to center. Take it to the other side. Inhale, center. Exhale, the arms down. Left arm's going up, right arm's reaching back. Now pull the stomach in, let the hips move forward. Hold that. Now lean back just an inch or two. Don't go too far. Good job. As you come back to center, drop the arms. They're just switching places. Make sure you re-solidify the core and then lean back just an inch or two. Center, drop the arms, release them to the earth, and let's take the knees wide for child's pose. If you want a prop, you can go ahead and grab it. Just allow yourself to settle into that space, that very protective, embracing space that only Balasana offers. So when we look at that story that I told you, do you suppose the advisor actually knew that good was going to come out of the king losing his finger? I mean, the probability is that he really had no idea. So sometimes it might be all we can do to attach ourselves to a positive perspective and hope for the best, especially during difficult times. Anybody experienced any difficult times lately? So can we find a shift in perspective so that we can say something like, everything happens for a reason, and this, you don't say, and this is great, but you can certainly think it or feel it, and then at least we are inviting in a positive energy that hopefully the universe is responding to. And so the following sentence I really like, and this I found online pertaining this story. We just need to have an empowering belief that everything that happens to us happens for us. So I know that might be a little challenging, and especially in really dire circumstances. But I come back to a snowflake never falls in the wrong place. Let's take a few more deep breaths in child's pose. And then we're gonna slowly rise back up into table. Realign, knees hip width, same arms or shoulder width. Take that right leg, stretch it out behind you, push into the heel. Okay, now bring that knee back to where it started from. Left forearm is coming down in front of you across your mat. Right arm is reaching, so quarter dog. I'm going to rest my forehead on my forearm if you can. If you cannot, if you're comfortable with the head not touching, then I'm okay with it. But if you're not comfortable, could you grab like your blanket or something to put on your arm, maybe a sweatshirt, so that your forehead is resting comfortably? And so here, I'm going to take my left leg and just shift it center a couple inches. I'm going to take my right leg, stretch it back out behind me, and push into that heel again. So while I'm lengthening out through the heel, I'm reaching out through the right fingertips. So really stretch the fingers wide, gently grip the earth. One more breath.
We're going to bring that right knee back in. I'm going to shift my left knee back over, and then I'll slide the right hand in and push my way back up into table. Give me an inhale, cow. Round it out into cat. Inhale, neutral spine. Exhale, left leg out behind you and gently push. Stay with the breath. And then I'm going to release the left knee back to where it was. I'm dropping down onto the right forearm, which is going horizontally across the mat. Left arm reaches forward, quarter dog. See if on this side you can rest your forehead down. And then once you're comfortable, you can take that right knee, move it over about an inch so you're more centered and support. Send that left leg out behind you. Push into the heels, stretch out through the fingertips. And then slide that knee back in, replant both knees, slide the left hand in, push your way back up into table, and I don't know, let's try something for fun here. So sit back for a moment, grab a block. Again, if you don't have a block, you could use anything. If you had a book, that would work. I'm so old, I was gonna say a VCR tape would work. You got one of those sitting nearby? Something flat, I don't know. If you don't have anything, don't worry about it. You'll be able to do this without a prop. All right, we're coming back into table. Take your block or whatever you have, and let's rest it on the sacrum. All right, so I want you to set your alignment for table. And I want you to slightly engage the core. If I over-engage, I'm probably going to drop my block. So what we're trying to do here is make sure that we keep the hips level when we raise a leg or go to cat balance, if we're going to go there. So we'll see. So anyway, shift the weight into the left knee. Now, engage the core. Draw the stomach in slightly. Feel how level the hips are here. You're going to try to take that right leg and stretch it out behind you without shifting that block. So we don't want the left hip to drop or lift to sustain this. So make sure you pull the stomach in a little bit. Breathe. If you want to, send the left arm forward for cat balance. Release the hand if you lifted it. Now, slowly set that knee back down. Try not to shift into the left hip. Nice. Left leg out behind you. Consciously. Right arm if you want to. Why are we doing this? Because it seemed like fun in my head and everything happens for a reason. Right hand down. Left knee back in. So I know you could raise and lower the leg quicker and probably still balance your block, but that isn't the point. I really want you to consciously make sure the hips stay stable. So again, right leg. Left arm. Left arm down. Right knee down. Don't worry, I'll reward you for this. Restorative pose next. When you're ready, left leg out behind you. Make sure you're drawing that stomach upwards. Right arm. Right arm down. Left knee down. Perfect. Go ahead and wiggle your block off of you. Ooh, that landed perfectly. You can just sit back on it. All right, how about a restorative pose? Let's grab the blanket. I'm going to toss that out in front of me. That's going to be from my head. I'm coming down on my stomach. Let's grab
bolster for underneath your hips. And if we put the two blocks next to each other at the bottom of the mat, then we can get our ankles a little support as well. There we go. So on your stomach, hips over the bolster, ankles on the blocks. You can rearrange your blanket pillow however you would like. Arms wherever makes you happy. Close your eyes. So I'd like you to take your focus to your breath. I don't necessarily want you to control it. Sometimes I ask you to do some pranayama and restorative poses, but other times I feel like it's really not the place because then it's not fully restorative. So I just want you to follow it. And you can get creative with your imagination if you so choose. So you might feel or envision the breath going through the entire body, traveling all the way down to the feet, all the way up to the head, or, you know, if you don't feel like you're very good at imagining, you can keep that breath confined to the chest and the lungs. It's up to you. Let's just, you know, decide if we want the breath to have character, a color perhaps, a warmth to it, or if you're in a hot room, a coolness to it. So make it what you need it to be. But I just want you to get a little creative so that it's easier to keep your mind focused on that breath. And then here's a fun question. If you gave your breath a color, did you consciously pick the color, or did you just know what it was going to be? Like maybe you don't even see the color, but you know exactly what color it is. Like for example, when I said that and I shut my eyes, I saw a mixture of green and rose. I didn't really see those colors. In my heart, my intuition knew that's what it would be. So just kind of ask yourself that. Get curious. Is it easy for you to stay focused on the breath? If it is not, where do you notice the mind wanting to go? So I kind of sometimes think it's a good way to discover what might be bothering you that you didn't know about, because the mind is probably going to take you there or to some semblance of it, or things that you're really busy with. So just pay attention. No judgment, no guilt, no blame. Even those thoughts happen for a reason too, and pull your attention away from where they started out. If you have your head turned to one side in this pose, go ahead and turn it to the other. Stay with the breath. Does the breath want to change colors on this side? Does it stay the same? Does anything change about it?
And then when you're ready, let's go ahead, bring that head to center. Slide the hands back. And, let's kick the feet off those blocks for a second. Much better. Okay, I want to slowly come up into supported cobra. So, of course, you decide if your cobra is just a baby learning to crawl, if it's, a really fun teenager, or you can come all the way up if you want to. A couple of deep breaths wherever you decide is perfect for you. And then slowly start to lift the hips up so we can get back into table here. I don't mind the bolster here, so tuck the toes. Slow downward facing dog, and you'll feel probably, well, I guess it depends where you've lined up over it. I can feel that bolster supporting the backs of my forearms. And then you can choose if you want to walk this pose out a little bit, if you'd rather stay still. And then slowly come on back down to the knees. I'm going to take my bolster. I'm going to turn it. You probably don't need to turn yours, actually. I just want you to sit on the edge of it. So however you're comfortable. Let's go ahead and close the eyes. Give me a huge inhale through the nose. Big exhale. And just stay right there. So when the king got a finger chopped off, he probably felt like it happened to him, right? So how many times have you felt like something negative has happened to you? Think about that for a second. It's happened to you. So, gosh, I hate saying this word, but if we were to take the current big C word that's going on in our universe right now, and most of us feeling stuck at home versus the positive being safe at home, or you feel like your anxiety is rising. I think most of us might have a tendency to say that that big C word has done this to us. Now, if we look to this story, it's asking you to consider that it's kind of in a way been done for you. So what are the positives? I can think of a lot of positives actually, because I feel like our family has become a lot tighter and closer, even though my kids are adult age. We've been forced to get creative. I don't know, we've had contests like blowing through straws, blowing things across the kitchen floor. We've played a lot of games. So, I need you to look at the takeaways. So let's get rid of the big C word issue and come up with a different idea in your head. Something that you have felt like has happened to you. And I want you to consider that when we are using that phrase, we seem like we're the victim, right? If it happened to me, I didn't have a choice. There was nothing I could do. If it happened for me, oh, well, thank you. Well, okay, let me figure out my learning lesson here. Let me figure out where I benefit from that. Does that make sense? It's a total different mindset. And just pausing here another moment to let that all kind of sink in. You don't have to agree with me, that's okay. And then just softly open the eyes. Inhale the arms. Turn the palms outward, exhale them down, clearing the space. We're getting the space ready for Savasana.
One more time. Go ahead and set up your space. Use any props you want to, however you want to. So the other thing that makes me think about is, you know how I'm always saying, like, when you ask the oracle cards a question, or you you feel like you need help from unseen support like angels, I tell you to ask it in a form of gratitude, actually a statement of gratitude, as if you already have your answer, right? So instead of saying, angels, please help me, I really need help with this, you would say, thank you, angels, for your help with this, right? Doesn't the first way, where I'm pleading for help, make you feel like you're in a weaker position versus, thank you for helping me with this, I feel much stronger in making that assertive statement? And it's the same thing, right? It's, do I want to feel like something happened to me where I have lost control and I'm in that weaker state of energy? Or do I want to feel like it happened for me, and now I feel empowered to take that in whatever direction I need to? So with your eyes closed, take a deep inhale, hold it. Really slowly let it out through your mouth. And I will come back and get you on the other side of Savasana. eyes closed and staying exactly as you are, I want you to notice how you feel from Savasana. So I'm going to assume, bad assumption, that you feel the same way I do. I always feel like Shavasana is there to help me kind of regain what I needed when I got to the mat. It offers me grounding, balance. But I don't think we lay there in Shavasana thinking Shavasana just happened to us, right? It doesn't happen to us. It does happen for us. But yet, when something negative occurs, we're really quick to say, instead of it happening for us, it happened to us. Just a little food for thought. Let you take that with you for the week to think about. Now, offering gratitude that Shavasana happened for you and that you're probably feeling very peaceful right now. Give me a slow, deep inhale. Let go of that breath. And invite some very gentle movement back into the body. And then if you want to stay on your back, stay right there. If you want to roll onto a side, go ahead and do that. And when you feel ready, you can start to make your way back up to a seated pose. We're going to draw the shoulders up. Take them back and down. Sitting up nice and tall, just drop the right ear to the right shoulder. And then slowly to the other side. And bring the head back to center. Deep inhale. Loud exhale. And then take the arms all the way up. Bring the palms together and release them back home to your heart in prayer pose. The light in me bows to the light in you. And when I'm in that place in me and you're in that place in you, then we become one. Namaste.